Oh, g'day everybody, and welcome back to another weekly live stream here at Next Level Adventures. It's 7 o'clock on the dot. Today we're not late, like we are usually a couple of minutes late starting up here. So, g'day there Steve, g'day Phil, how are we guys in the chat? Nice and early tonight. So, we're in for another weekly live, and basically just going to be chatting on tonight with you guys, and whoever decides to pop in. We'll be talking a little bit about an upcoming overnighter that I have planned, and that's pretty much it. So hopefully tonight we get a few people in, we can have a good yarn and fill up the hour nice and quickly. Usually goes fairly fast when we do these lives, the hour. So yeah, we'll just see what happens. So I finally managed to fix, well, at least for this stream, or find out how to fix the subscriber only mode issue that we were having. So I did manage to turn it off for one of the previous streams that I was doing, but that was in the studio before I actually published the stream and scheduled it. But now I finally figured out how to turn it off after I've scheduled the stream. So I also figured out why it keeps happening, and that's because I was copying the settings each week. You know, like the description and all those sort of things for scheduling and stuff like that. I was just copying them and changing the title and the thumbnail, and that means that the subscriber only mode carried over from there. But yeah, I finally managed to fix it, which is good. So now anyone can type a comment in the chat. You don't have to be a subscriber, but if you haven't already, please do consider subscribing here at Next Level Adventures. We would love to see you guys support what we're doing here, and definitely thankful if you do. Phil's out camping tonight. Yeah, mate, that's good. Good to be able to have reception while you're out and about, mate, isn't it? That's top stuff, mate. Where are you camped for tonight? Overnighting. No, mate, I'm not Steve. Funny. Well, you know, the last time that I did go camping, I did have reception down in Benalla there, but usually, yeah, reception's fairly limited in the places that I have been. So that's good, Phil. Hope you're enjoying your time, mate, out and about there exploring. I'll be myself heading out soon, hopefully down to Tumut regions. So I'm finally granted a day off, which is fantastic, and so I've got two options. I'll either be heading out for an overnight camp down in that region somewhere, or I'll go out for a hike or something. I am slightly leaning towards the hike, maybe hanging a rock up in the Blue Mountains or something like that, just because it's only a single day. I'd like to save maybe Tumut and surrounds for 2 days or something like that, if I have that, so I can have a little bit more fun down there and it not be so rush. Gucci Creek, mate, whereabout is that? I've not heard of that. It's a funny name, but must be a nice spot. 700 acres, wow, all to yourself, mate. That's fantastic. I can see why you spent a few nights there. I definitely enjoy going down a place like that. That's fantastic. Do you have to obviously you have to book in there, mate? How much is that one for you? And do they have any kind of like seasonal closures or anything like that you'd have to look out for if you were booking or wanted to head down there? Yeah, that's right, Steve. That's pretty bizarre that we both put up Spring Gully, although you filmed yours quite some time ago now. I only filmed mine back in January there. Oh, the big trip that I did through that region. There's one coming up on Big River as well. So if you got Big River next week, then I think it's going to be a double coincidence. No, nice, Phil. Yeah, that's a nice area out there, mate. I bet you're enjoying yourself all the way out there. Have you got good service out there or fairly limited? Wow, all the way out there, eh? That's a fairly long drive, mate. Yeah, fair enough. They're only closed when the creek is flooded. Well, that's you know fair enough, I suppose. You wouldn't want people heading into there when they could potentially put themselves into danger for $15 per night. Wow, that's some good stuff, mate. And I definitely reckon that I'll have to head up and out that way when I get into that region. It is actually fairly far for me to get up there. You're just north of the Sunshine Coast, and I'm in Sydney, so that's probably a good 10 or 11-hour drive for me to get up somewhere like that. But I'd say it'd be well worth it, in my opinion. 4 bars, 4G, wow. Not bad at all, mate, if I do say so. So that's a nice little area up and out through there. We haven't really been through that region all too much. Of course, you're not that far from Fraser Island. Just there, you're probably what, an hour maybe from Inskip Point, something like that. I'd say, but I haven't actually explored that inland region. We've only ever really, every time we've been up there has been extremely coastal. We've stuck to the coast. We've been up, obviously Fraser Island a fair few times, but we've not been inland. Oh, and we've been up north, obviously up to Cairns and up Airlie Beachways and stuff like that. And more heavy rain. Yeah, it's actually been pretty good weather down here in Sydney, mate. So hopefully it works out for you. You can get out of there no dramas at all, and everything goes well. If not, it'll be a real shame, mate. You'll be stuck out there for a good little while. I bet you'd be very disappointed if you got stuck out there. G'day, Grant. How you doing, mate? Good to see you. Things are going well here, mate. How about yourself? Haven't seen you jump in to a live for a while, mate. So yeah, it's definitely good to see you. Wonder where the mud duck's gone. I wonder if he's still hanging around. So I assume, Phil, are you based in that region there, all up around somewhere in Queensland, or are you from down here? Are you a Sydney sider? Oh dear, sorry, there we had a little bit of a connection issue there for a second. I thought I just bugged out there, looks like. Yes, how is everything going with this, by the way, guys? Next week, I think I'm going to begin doing the lives on StreamYard like Mud Duck did last week. And so Mud Duck did a couple of test live streams on his channel throughout the week. A couple of you fellas might have seen that, and I was on one of them. On StreamYard is the software, that Mud Duck was using, and it basically allows me to have a guest on here if I wanted to, and I think that is something that I would definitely be looking at doing somewhere in the future. It gives me someone to obviously talk to live as well, keep things kind of going. As sometimes, on the hour live streams thing, when there's not many people in the chat, it can get a little bit slow. And there might be moments where I'm pausing there. So having a guest on board, not only does that give us a lot of time to talk with them, interview them, ask a lot of questions and stuff like that, it gives you guys something to look forward to as well. The first guest will probably be Steve, as he's the one who introduced the software to me. He's familiar with it, so it'll be the easiest to get Steve on here to do that first one. And we'll probably also do a live closer to Fraser Island, just sort of chatting about that trip and stuff like that. So that's going to be the plan moving forward. Probably next week I will introduce StreamYard as the new kind of means going forward there for us and live streaming. OBS itself is really good and offers a nice kind of view. You got myself, you got the channel banner, and you've also got the side chat in there as well, and also all these awesome features you see on screen there. All of our lower thirds and stuff all work on OBS, and I wish there was a way that I could actually put this platform here onto StreamYard, but we'll be probably doing that next week, guys, with Steve. I hope you're all right with that, Steve. Yeah, thanks for agreeing to that. We'll see you on next week. Steve's just gone through and actually set up Mud Duck Studios ready for the live streams and stuff like that. So looking forward to having him on for a few. Make sure you guys are poking with some questions next week. Hey, Grant, absolutely. That is going to be a cracker, mate. Hopefully everything goes well and we can get as many people out there as possible on that one. It'll be a big one, quite a few people. You live in the area, Phil. You're a fantastic area up there, mate. Very lucky to live up in a region like that. You know, that's such a beautiful area. Okay, Big River is next Sunday. So this coming Friday, I believe, is my Big River video. I'm not 100% sure on that one, but I believe it is. So maybe there'll be a week gap in between our videos there. G'day, Pro. How you doing, mate? Hope you're doing well. Yeah, now Mud Duck Nose is on. That's right, Mud Duck. You're up next week, mate. I'm going to get some questions to poke you with, and hopefully we can have a good time there next week on the live. I really would like to be able to actually find out a way to get this camera right here, which is actually my iPhone camera, to work on StreamYard. That is my goal for between now and next week, is to get that all sorted out, because the quality on this camera is fantastic, and whilst I'm not overly disappointed with the quality on the standard FaceTime camera, this is awesome. I like this. I also like how it's got a side pointing view rather than the head-on view. I think that looks better, so fingers crossed that I can get that all sorted out for next week when we have a live on StreamYard there. So with that being said as well, feel free, guys, if you are interested in jumping on live, having a chat for an hour, you guys can talk with the chat, ask you a few questions. Of course I'll have questions and stuff that keep things interesting. So if you guys are interested in that, let me know, guys. The Instagram is right here. You guys can send me a message there. Simply just send me a if you're into if you're old-fashioned, you can send me an email if you really like, or a comment or anything like that if you're interested in stuff in jumping on here. Nice, mate. That's good, Phil. Taking a mate that's not been there for 20 years. Fraser's such a beautiful place, and I reckon that he'll have a great time up there. We're going to Fraser at the end of July, start of August. So that will be the time frame, Phil, that we'll be heading up there, mate. Have plenty of pajamas and cool weather gear. Yeah, mate, I reckon so. Grant, after living in Mudgee for a year, mate, I've slowly gotten used to the colder temperatures. This morning here in Sydney, it was like 7 degrees or something like that. It felt warm, because at this time of the year up in Mudgee, it was like -2 and -3 in the morning, and you could really feel it then. You'd literally freeze your nipples off if you were not used to the cold. Yeah, the first little while was difficult. Shad sleeps nude. Yeah, well, man, what can I say to that? Yeah, g'day, Shad. How are you, mate? G'day, Flat Broke. How are you, buddy? Good to see you. Yes, Unpro, similar temperature. I think it's a little bit colder in Orange actually than it was in Mudgee. Shad has plenty of bunk buddies, Grant. Haven't you seen them all? Gee, Shad's copping it tonight, mate. I guess you're right there, Grant. The cold definitely makes you feel alive. I am a cold person. I like the cold better than I like the heat. I rather enjoy camping in the cold as well. You can, I don't know, I wouldn't say you enjoy it more, but you just kind of get this hazy, constantly tired feeling in the heat. Whereas in the cold, I feel more awake. That's just how it is. So in Harvey Bay at that time, Phil, that's as good. We won't be heading up to Harvey Bay, I don't believe. We'll be getting on from Inskip, so We'll be close by in the vicinity, but we won't be catching the ferry from Hervey Bay. In the past, every other time that I've been to Fraser, we have caught the ferry from Hervey Bay. This time will be the first time I will be behind the wheel of my own car on Fraser. So before, all the other times, it was the same car, but that was when Dad still owned it, so he was behind the wheel, and yeah, really looking forward to actually experiencing it for myself behind the wheel. Hopefully Jake will be joining us as well. Dad will be coming as well. So Dad and I are officially booked, and Jake is still to be booked, but he hopefully will be confirmed shortly. September school holidays. I think we'll miss you by about a month there, mate. We'll be a month earlier than you, so it'll be still a little bit cooler for us as well, which is nice, you know. But up there, it's kind of I would say it's probably going to be warmer than what it would be in Sydney at that time of the year. You know, it's further up north, so it'll be a little bit cooler than in the September holidays, I think. Looking forward to it, mate, because it's going to hopefully be a nice, consistent temperature, not too hot, not too cold, for our whole time on Fraser. Fingers crossed the weather plays out as well. Gee, you guys are really giving it to Shad tonight. That's right. That's right, Grant. You can always do that. That's the main reason that I like winter camping. You know, Jared and I, my best mate Jared, you guys probably haven't seen in a while. He's been fairly busy. We used to only really go camping in the winter months for a good couple of years there. This is before I started filming our adventures. We would only go camping in winter because in summer it was just miserably hot wherever we would go. We used to go up to Glenbrook a fair bit. That was our go-to spot. And even though you could go down and have a dip in the jelly bean pools and in the river, it was just too hot to function during the day. So we would usually go camping during the winter months. We both enjoyed it, have a nice big fire, stuff like that. The next big mod for the Pajero, look, to be honest, mate, I don't think that there are many big mods coming. It's fairly perfect for me. Only small things will probably change. You know, I want to add a couple of things in there. Enerdrive do this remote screen for their DC-DC charger, so it's like an extension of the screen that's displayed on the charger. So I'll be putting that in the cab, slowly kind of upgrading a few of those things. Most of the stuff is upgrades to the gear that's already on it and other stuff like that, not necessarily adding any big mods. If anybody made a rear bar that wasn't, you know, expensive, like ridiculously expensive, I'd consider putting it on there. If any of the major manufacturers made one, like Raslar or ARB, I would consider a rear bar, but nobody does. I've got to get one custom fabbed or the Outback Accessories one, but I've never actually seen the Outback Accessories one on a Pajero before, so that's why I haven't purchased that one. So yeah, no major mods coming for the Pajero, just slight tweaks here and there and upgrades of the gear that I've got when I find something that's better. But to be honest, I'm pretty happy with it so far, mate. How many can I fit in the rooftop tent? Untested, Shad. I've just had myself up there, to be honest, but a couple of people could probably fit up there pretty easy, I reckon. I definitely reckon it would get busy up on Fraser as well, Phil. A lot of people up around there in September. It's kind of like the prime time. Like I said, not too hot, not too cold. Everyone wants to be there. G'day, FJ, mate. How are you doing? Sorry, it's taken me a little while to keep up with the chat there, mate. I'm a bit late to say g'day. How you doing? Hope you're doing well, and congratulations on another subscriber milestone, mate. You are flying along. Yeah, I reckon Mud Duck's computer room does look pretty awesome. New Mud Duck studio getting set up for some live streams, so that's interesting. It's going to be exciting. Mud Duck lives. Yeah, Mud Duck got a fair few views there on the last live stream. That was pretty good to see for a test. Eh? We were on there for a little while. LS1 swap for the Pajero. The old NL Pajero that I used to have. That was my first car. It person that we sold it to, the motor did end up giving in, and it's currently sitting. So Steve, you never know. We could put an LS1 in that at some point. I think that would be a pretty funny project car. Put an LS1 in an old Pajero. I wouldn't put it in this one, but for a project car or something like that, I don't see why not. Bit of fun. Bundu suit. I never heard of such things. I don't know what it is either. Check out MCC for a rear bar. They may have one. Yeah, mate, I will check them out. I contacted Razzler to have a look at their rear bars. I've seen some photos of them, and when that was in production, that was the most commonly found one on Pajeros. But I messaged them, and they said that they no longer do it, and they said I should buy a Patrol. And I thought, well, I can't exactly just go out and do that. So that's unfortunate, because if they had come back and said, yeah, we can do it, it'd probably be down there getting it done. But, it is what it is. So unfortunately, haven't found one. But MCC, I will check them out, mate. Pajero rear bars are very uncommon. Like I said, the only one that I've seen advertised is the Outback Accessories one, but I've never seen any feedback on it. And I've asked people in Pajero groups and stuff like that for photos if they've got one, but unfortunately everyone seems to have the Razzler rear bar, and they don't make them anymore. So unfortunate, but yes, I will follow up on that suggestion, mate. Case of Cooper's, rig welder, and a 5 PM warranty. Jeez. Oh, Grant getting stuck into it. That's good. Yeah, Steve, I have seen rear bars on them. I think it would look good. Like my suspension can handle it. It's 300 kilo constant load. It would also give me an opportunity to have an extra jerry can of fuel. So basically, right now I've got no means of carrying any spare fuel, as I don't have any roof space, and I probably wouldn't put fuel on a roof anyway. But I've got the spare tyre. If I had a rear bar, I could have a spare tyre on one side and jerry can on the other, have 20 or 40 litres of extra fuel, which would be fantastic for those longer trips, because no one does secondary tanks for Pajeros. There is a way to get a larger fuel tank, like Brown Davis will do a larger fuel tank for Pajeros, I believe 100 or 120 litres or something like that, but just carrying some extra fuel would be good for me as well. So if I could get a rear bar, mate, absolutely I would. So I don't know what I'm going to do down the track. It will definitely be down the track if I do decide to do it. I'll probably end up getting one custom fabbed in the end. But I do kind of wish Razzler would have said yes to that, because that bar does look nice. It is a very well made bar. I reckon Mud Duck should definitely play the guitar on his next live stream. There's a guy in Melbourne that makes rear bars. Yeah, mate, Phil definitely open to doing that somewhere down the track, mate. If you can find someone who does them and does a good quality one, just kind of like an ARB one, how they do them on the patrols and cruises and stuff. One side, the swing open things, tire on one side, jerry can holders on the other, mate. That's all I want. And obviously a little bit of rear protection. I've never had this issue. Actually, I have actually once had this issue down in Yulwal when I bent the plastic bumper out, and I've done it a few times since on some obstacles. So it'd be great to have something, like a steel bar or an aluminium bar, whatever, on the back that is protective of that area. That'd be great. Yeah, thanks, Grant. That was a really enjoyable little trip there, mate. That is, yeah, probably the most times I've ever been recovered. Actually, I think it's the first time that I've been recovered Yes, and I got recovered many times in that trip. I was a lead vehicle going through there, and it was just slosh, man. It was just so hard to get through. I would be like, I was in front and I'd be going down something, and I thought, I look at an obstacle and I go, yeah, that doesn't look too bad, and then I'd kind of edge towards it, and it would just, the car would just slide in, and I couldn't get it out. It's just all mud. I'm not sure how it is these days. It'd probably still be similar because there was a lot of rain, obviously, out there after we went as well. But man, that was very difficult. I really enjoyed it though, mate. That whole series, actually, I enjoyed watching it back. You know, we had a great time throughout that whole trip, and kind of is a good mix between the first few episodes are completely off-road, and then towards the end of the series we kind of tackle the highway a little bit and do some major touristy things. But those first few episodes made Lithgow, Turon, and Gardens of Stone and stuff like that. That was great fun. Up to Goulburn River. Oh. Phil, I've got the Old Man Emu springs on the Pajero. They're 300 kilo constant load springs. I've decided to get those instead of anything softer because I hate vehicle sag. I want the vehicle to sit like, nose down like it should. And I did have a fair bit of weight in the back. As I don't immediately really plan on towing anything, the vehicle is set up to be kind of self-sufficient as it is. I went with those springs because I probably will load it up a little bit. And eventually, if I do decide to tow something as well, there won't be any vehicle sag. If I do ever decide to get a van or something like that down the track, it'll only be a small one, probably a little 15, anything between 12 to 15 foot off-road van. So I got the 300 kilo springs in it to support the weight on the back, if I ever decide to do that, as well as, of course, the touring setup in the back there. The front has the same because of the bull bar and soon to be winch, so I wanted to make sure that I wasn't going to have any issues of any scraping with the 33s on there. Oh, just catching up with the chat here, guys. Sorry. I think you're pulling the camper through Barbone Gap Shed. Well, if it's been raining, I'd call you crazy. But if it's not been raining, mate, I definitely reckon it's possible. I think your mate's there. Yeah, mate. Phil, like I said, if you can find someone who can do a bar, mate, I'd definitely be interested somewhere down the track. Yeah, I reckon Grant Shad towing that bloody camper trailer through that river, that was crazy. Steve's not playing the guitar. Well, we'll convince him one day. Yeah, I don't blame Natasha Shad after that one, mate, getting stuck out there for a few days. That would have been would have got the old heart pumping, that river crossing, mate. Yeah, fair enough, Phil. I'd appreciate that, as said. You have a mate that does custom fab works, Mud Duck. Yeah, tidy up behind me before next week. Yes, that's right. You do need to get the old Mud Duck studio up and running before next week. Yeah, I like that. The XTM rear setup, mate. It's fantastic. Great. I get a lot of questions about that one, to be honest. A lot of people ask me about it. I'm probably going to do a video coming soon. So right now, I'm sort of actually getting down. We've only got 4 weeks scheduled at the moment, so I'll probably head out and do a trip and do that video on that trip about the XTM rear setup. But I'm absolutely loving it, mate. It fits perfectly, and that's why I like it. And it's also easily achievable for other people. It's not like it's a custom-built setup. And while custom-built setups are great, they're often purpose-built and suit people perfectly. Whereas if somebody's seen my rear setup, they can actually very affordably replicate it. And like I said, that's not saying that custom-built setups are no good, but they would definitely take a lot more time than it did for me to set mine up, mate. A couple of bolts, bang, and she's done. But it's a good little setup, mate. The 2 drawers, they work fantastic. The pull-out kitchen is the highlight of the whole rear setup. So, Absolutely loving it. But I do need to do a video on it because I get asked so much about it. Actually, on your question before about the next mod, K and Off Road do a cargo barrier that doesn't bolt directly down behind the back seats, so my drawers actually prevent the back seats from clipping in. And this brand, they do the cargo barrier that clips into the two very rear handles that are obviously no longer used, and that they actually clip onto the bottom of the back seat. So this cargo barrier would essentially hold up my back seats. And go off that if I wanted it, which is something that I think I would probably be interested in, because right now I cannot actually use my back seats at all. But they're useless. They don't click in but it's by about that much. They don't click in by about that much because of the drawer, top drawer, and I can't move it forward anymore because then it would hit the back door. So if I can do something like that, then maybe run some electrical work or something up there, or even it just means that I can fit some more stuff in there without it all, falling forward or falling back. It'd be great. That's probably going to be one of my next mods now that I've been reminded of that. No one trusts a naked shed. I think it's definitely a weekend job for Mud Duck, mate. That's for sure. Yeah, they do a few of them at BCF. I've noticed, it's from my experience with them, mate. It's good gear. I haven't had any issues with them. They are mixed reviews if you look on their website, but it's all different purposes. If you've got a purpose for it, then it'll probably work well for you. If you don't have a purpose for it, well, then it may not work for you. I enjoy it because I don't have to carry a table anymore. It saves space carrying like those miscellaneous items. I've got a table and wind-shielded cooking space. Literally just folds out. That's exactly what I wanted in the car. So that's why I bought them, and I was actually really happy that someone did them. It was not overly expensive. It probably cost me about $800, $1,200 for the entire rear setup, 2 drawers, fridge slide, fridge slide and pull-out kitchen. So that's awesome. I'm not complaining about that. It costs the same amount for those 3 things that did the lithium battery and the charger. Damn. Yeah, I definitely like Phil's system. Definitely suits him well. And as I said, nothing against the custom-built sort of drawers and stuff like that, but they're often purpose-built, personalised, I should say. They're often personalised to someone's exact needs, which is great for them, but it's often very hard for someone to replicate what somebody else has built in that sense. And that's what I like about the XTM ones. You can literally just go buy it off the shelf and you can replicate it. It's worked well for me, and I have absolutely no intentions on replacing it. Very, very happy with it. The other thing is if something goes wrong with it, I can just take it back for warranty or just buy a new one rather than having to fiddle around with something that I have built myself. As I said, not taken away from things that are custom built or someone's built themselves, but often very purpose built, very personalised, and I just like the fact that I made something cool out of something off the shelf. Bilstein Springs, Lovell Springs. Now, fair enough, Phil. That's I only know the load rating because I made sure, like I asked, I want the heaviest duty springs that you do. I said I was 300 kilo, and they put them in. They were installed at ARB, and we've owned this car since new, so everything that has been done to it, we tend to keep the details about that sort of stuff, and I'm really, really happy with the OME ones, though. Everything that's really been done to it in terms of the major work, like the bull bar and the lift, was done by ARB. So the bull bar was installed near new in 2013 when Dad bought the car, and the lift was installed by me after I bought it off him only a couple of years ago, and lifted it up. And then the tyres were done at Bob Jane. So all big companies have done all the major work, so if something goes wrong, fairly easy fix. There's no backyard work really done on it in terms of the major modifications, but the other things, so pretty much everything else I did myself. So the wiring was done in Mud Duck's driveway. That was that was cool. That's the end of drive lithium was done in Mud Duck's driveway. The spare wheel cover, I cut that off in the driveway. Rooftop tent, put that on in the front yard with the rails and stuff like that. So that's all cool. You know what I mean? But the major work was all done by ARB. BP51's a nice, mate. When am I wrapping the Pajero? Not sure, mate. I would actually, like, I'm dead serious. I would wrap the Pajero and the Ranger. We'd wrap that too if we could get someone to do it with a nice design, next level adventures design. I'd definitely look at doing that some point in the future. I see you, Grant, mate. Hope you're all good. Have a good night. Stay safe, mate. Yeah, Phil, I definitely agree. OME are definitely good. What I like the most is obviously ARB offer good warranty. So if something goes wrong, mate, it's fixed. And that's kind of what I wanted with the gear. You know, I could have very easily bought something and put it in myself, or you know what I mean. But I wanted to go with something reputable. The other brand that I was looking at was Tough Dog, but as recommended at the time by Old Earl, he recommended me to go ARB, so I did, and definitely happy with the decision that I made. They have been pretty good every time it's been in for a checkup. They do a top job at making sure everything is all good. Some dodgy electrical work. Well, it wasn't dodgy. It's actually a very clean job that we did there. Mud Duck and I did the old lithium battery. That was good. Definitely taught me a lot. Ever since that experience, I've been much more confident doing electrical work and stuff like that, and I've actually been kind of really into it ever since then. So that was a really cool experience putting in the battery. I did update people on that. I forget when that was, in the second episode of the build series, I believe, but I haven't actually made a dedicated video on the lithium battery setup, but as I will probably do that, because soon I will be ordering a remote screen that replicates the screen on the charger up onto the dashboard, like onto the screen. So I'll be doing that, which means I'll have to pull everything out and get a good look at the battery setup for that. So I might do a video on that then. See you, Shad, mate. I hope you have a good night, mate. Thanks for tuning in, as always. A pleasure. Tough Dog is junk. Well, I haven't actually had Tough Dog suspension yet. Lockie's got Tough Dog suspension, and it hasn't failed him yet. But I can't comment on that because I don't have it. The King's Factory. As in, you're not talking about... Obviously not talking about Adventure Kings, mate. Probably talking about King Springs, I'd say. Top stuff they are. They're good quality piece of gear. The proper King Springs. Fair enough, Phil. The factory's next to Patriot Campers, another great company there in Patriot Campers. I'd love one day to maybe own one of them, but they are quite pricey and probably out of my range for a little while. But like I said, if I was planning on towing something, it would probably be a caravan of some sort of small 12 to 15 foot off-road caravan. No, not Adventure Kings. Yeah, I figured not Adventure Kings, mate. I figured that you were talking about King Springs, but just had to be sure because, yeah, not sure if I'd put Adventure Kings Springs in the car if they ever made them. Well, guys, we're approaching 45 minutes here, guys. I think we might call it soon. An early one tonight. And next week, as said, we will be going in with Mud Duck's four-wheel drive touring on StreamYard. That will be awesome. So Steve's got some work ahead of him to prepare for this live stream. And some questions that I'm going to ask him. Of course, be sure to rip in next week, guys. Don't hold back on the comments and questions for Mud Ducks. So that's going to be the plan. Hopefully I can get it all sorted, get him in and work it out on my end. We did a test on Mud Duck's channel and it all works. But yeah, I haven't tested it out on here yet. So next week, guys, you'll be seeing a completely different layout here on the live stream. There'll be no more of this sort of stuff. The Next Level Adventures banner. The chat, I believe, may still stay. I'm not sure how StreamYard works, but it'll still be there on the side anyway when you guys are typing in it. The chat's just on the screen, makes it easier for me to actually see it. If that wasn't on the screen, I wouldn't be able to see it now, guys. So thank you very much for tuning in tonight, guys, for tonight's live stream. Good to see a few familiar faces in the chat. As said, next week we will be jumping in with Mud Duck and bombarding him with some questions. Maybe talking about Fraser a little bit, but we might leave that for an actual video. We'll still have a little bit of a talk about it, and but yeah, we'll save the full detailed rundown for an actual video when we eventually meet up before the trip. Dropping me in it, yeah. Well, it is involuntary. Mud Duck has been conscripted for next week's live stream. Yeah, fair enough. Phil, some good brands there, guys. So this Friday's video coming up on Next Level Adventures, I believe, is a Big River Campground showcase. Got a few showcases coming up in the next little while, and that is just basically it for a bit, I think, until the Benalla video. So I've got a couple of showcases coming up. Got a video that caps off our year in Mudgee, a great town showcase coming up on Mudgee, so I did do one of them, and then after that will be the Benalla adventure, Anzac Day adventure. We went down there, guys. So I believe that we are going to probably call it quits for the night for this live stream. We're approaching 45 minutes, so a little bit shorter one tonight, guys. Appreciate it very much, everyone who tuned in tonight. Don't forget to tune into this Friday's video, as well as next week's live stream with Steve again. So thank you very much, guys. Appreciate you guys tuning in all for this week's live stream. And I suppose we will see you in the next one. Cheers, guys.